Hey friends, if you are watching this, welcome to my channel. I am Celine Lizette, and this is my first video back since, I don't know, I think it's been like 4 years. My last video was probably 2021. I decided to just completely freeform this and be as raw and authentic as possible. Obviously, it's been a while. I don't even know like what I'm aiming to talk about in this video other than just to give you guys an update on my life. I know that I want to start doing YouTube videos again. I moved out. I moved out of my parents' place, and that's kind of where I left off at, just because I moved back home. When I started my channel, I was living in a studio in LA, and that's kind of how I started. That's where I get most of my, I guess, drive, is just like living on my own. And then when I moved back home, I was aiming to continue doing videos and stuff, but then I don't know, life happened. I just felt very like, I don't know, contained. My wings were clipped a little bit living on my own. Living at home instead of on my own. So I am back on my own again in LA. So I'm really happy about that. I moved out a month ago, actually in November. And yeah, there's a lot of emotions going on, a lot of stuff that's happened since 2021. Obviously, since it's been a while, we're in 2024, about to go into 2025, which is why I'm like, okay, I should start now. Like, I know I want to do this. We're not in the new year yet, but I want to be set and going. And my goal is to try to do like a video per day. Video per week. Let's not get crazy. I would not do a video per day. But yeah, so to start, I will just talk about some of the things that I manifested, kind of what I'm going through this year that, I feel like this year was really, really tough. For a lot of people in general. I will say, of course, I'm trying to be as high vibrational as possible. I did a lot of things this year, a lot of traveling. I wanted to go to new places, have new experiences. I did that. I rewarded myself actually for getting out of a really toxic relationship. Yes, another toxic relationship. I can be the queen of toxic relationships, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. I won't say that. But it was definitely a learning experience for me. I was in that relationship for 2 years. And of course there was love. Of course there was like good parts to it. That's why I stayed in it for so long. But was it toxic? Yes. Was I toxic? Yes. I take accountability for my own toxic ways. And then was he toxic? Yes. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Definitely going to do lots of videos on that, just because I feel like that was such a huge chapter of my life. And then leaving that was very difficult. So I feel like, a lot of people can use that wisdom. I know I've already like helped some of my friends or acquaintances, they've asked me for advice when it comes to leaving toxic relationships or just leaving relationships in general. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, I rewarded myself when I did that earlier in May. And I was like, you know what? Since I'm leaving this relationship, like I'm gonna go book a big trip. So I went to Bali in October, did a spiritual retreat, and that was its own experience, which I can do videos on as well. What else happened? Also in the past, I guess like the last time that I was doing this, I had just quit a job that I hated, and I ended up manifesting the exact career that I wanted, which I did. When did I get hired? I got hired in 2022. Same company, different role, but it literally was everything I wrote down in my journal about like my manifestation journal. I wrote down like I wanted it to land in my lap. I worked for it, of course. Like every manifestation, you put work and effort towards it. But that was probably my biggest accomplishment and manifestation that came true between 2021 and now. Like, still so grateful for that role, even though yes, it has been difficult this year, more responsibility, but hoping to manifest a easier environment for myself coming into this year. And we'll talk about like why it went from my dream role, and it was just like everything that I wrote down, all the qualities of the job that I wanted, and then it became more difficult. I think that has a lot to do with my state of mind and being kind of in a lower vibration in these past 2 years, part of that being because of my relationship and just life in general, right? So because we are or we attract what we are and like what vibration, right? So it became difficult, but still really grateful for that job. So that was a huge thing that happened for me and something that I'm super proud of. And then actually around the same time that I manifested that role, I also manifested the relationship that I wanted. And that, which was with the guy, well, I don't want to say names, but I'm gonna need a code name because we're gonna be talking about him a lot. But anyways, yeah, so that relationship I really, really wanted. Like I wanted nothing more to be with this person, and that's what I got. However, was that person ready for the relationship? No. And if I could like relate it to any situation, it was honestly like a Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox situation. And as you know, they also just broke up. I don't know if my guy was my twin flame or not, but the similarities there are like, did we know that MGK and my ex were unhealed little emo boys at heart? Yes. Were they sexy as fuck? Yes. So clearly we both thought they were sexy as fuck, but oh, excuse my French. But yeah, so and you know, she went through it for the past years, and it doesn't change that sometimes people just aren't ready, and we get what we want, but maybe we shouldn't have wanted that in the first place, you know? Like, did we ignore all the red flags? Yes. So, but you know, learning lesson. Anyways, so those are two things: the relationship and the role or the job, which my title is a renewals manager in sales. So those both manifested around April 2022. Another thing that happened since my last videos that I manifested that's been a huge part of my life, I started raving quite a bit. So I'll just show pictures. I am a huge raver. I go to festivals quite a bit. I love music. I went to my first one technically it was a car rave because of the whole COVID thing, in 2021, October 2021. But my first real rave was July 2021, Hard Summer Festival. The drive-in rave was actually in 2020, October, and it was a Cascade car drive-in rave. And it was just amazing. You know, right now I became a little jaded because this year, you know, I was like over raves just because me and my ex would rave a lot. That's actually how I met him, is through the rave community. But really, when I look back at it, I wouldn't have met and been like close to the people that I'm close to now if it wasn't for raves, you know? Like I met so many people through doing that and just have had so many great experiences with it. Are there dark people that go there and some creepers and like bad experiences that happen at raves? Yes, that's true too. But regardless, like I'm grateful for everything. Like now, I mean, I've literally in 2021 and 2022, I think I went to every rave in Southern California that, like, I mean, all the big raves, I'll say. So if you, like, on my Instagram, it's literally a bunch of rave photos. So I am now at a point where I've been doing it for the past 4 years. It feels like I call myself a senior when it comes to raving, and I'm definitely about the new experiences and festivals that I haven't gone to. So that's part of my goal for 2025. Like I want to go to new ones. I'm not going to EDC, for example. EDC I went to the past 4 times. Yeah, and it's a great, you know, rave, but I've just seen it and done it quite a bit. And I have a lot of memories with that. So good and bad. I went with my ex and did not have a good time. Went with my friends, had a great time, but you know, we'll get into those stories later, I'm sure. So yeah, but because of that, I also manifested a really, really good friend group. And although, you know, lately I've been like, I told you guys I'm back on my own, and with living on your own, you know, there's feelings of loneliness. I think that's what I was struggling a lot with. Today I had a little breakdown at the park. It was also a Gemini full moon on Sunday, and I always get emotional around full moons. On top of it, I'm a Gemini, so it's my full moon. So definitely feeling it strongly. And I think I just am like, you know, when it comes to love, I was having some negative thoughts, like, okay, all the good ones are taken, you know, the typical story that I need to not be telling myself, that I need to rewire in my brain, because I know that's not true. But yeah, and even though I have my really solid friend group, you know, I'm having a Friendsmas, my first Friendsmas ever. this weekend. So I have a really good friend group that I know, like, I can trust, and they're like, we are really, really tight. There's 4 of us in total. We're a group of 4. Those are my girlfriends, and then I have my gay besties as well. So, you know, like, I just have a really good support group, and I manifested that. I met these girls in 2020. Was it 2022 or in 2024? Actually, I think I manifested them in 2023. My gay best friend George, I've known him since high school, but actually through George is how I met these girls, and we've united at one of the raves. Actually, me and my ex broke up at the rave, and then George was like, okay, we're gonna disconnect, we're gonna not care about my ex, and then we went in and, you know, just had our own time at the rave, and then we ran into these girls, and it was history since then. Like, it was a great time. So friend group, job, boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend. What else have I manifested? I think those are like the main things, right? Like the main things for a good life. And of course, I've had amazing, very, very good, joyful experiences. And I know I'm gonna have even more in 2025, even though, you know, this was a difficult year. It still was amazing. But you know, obviously I'm being authentic and real, and like, why did I have my breakdown today? And why am I still feeling lonely? And to be honest, like, I had so much anxiety this year. I give myself grace because, like, getting out of a 2-year relationship, and I was intertwined with this guy for 3 years, but it would have been 2 years, like, actually officially together in October. And that's always hard to leave a relationship, on top of it being toxic and constantly being in anxiety. Like, that transferred over to me as a person, because you know, you just stay in this anxious state for so long, and then that kind of became my new normal. And then on top of it, the stresses of work and stuff, and like, I do believe that our environment is a result of like what's going on the inside. So I do believe that it got a little more difficult because of where, you know, my mental state was at. Also, it gets dark like at freaking 4 p.m. I'm not exactly where I want to be as far as my like body weight and just like hobbies and stuff. You know, I realized today that I'm like, why do I want someone so badly? And it really just reminded me that when I got with my ex, I was feeling lonely. I was feeling, honestly, somewhat in a desperate state. And I'm self-aware now that I'm like, okay, am I in a desperate state to be with someone, and why? And it's really because, am I happy with like what I'm doing on a daily? Am I happy with my life, with myself? Am I using my creative abilities? And I haven't been, hence why I'm doing this YouTube video now, just because this used to be a creative outlet for me, and I used my voice. And, you know, we are humans, we are made to create. I know, you know, there's been this mentality of like, oh, just being and just existing and just allowing. And yes, that is, you know, something I aim to be in, a state I aim to be in. But also, like, creation is a part of us, and working hard isn't always a bad thing. That's what I'm learning. Or, you know, maybe not like working hard and working, you know, till you're exhausted and overexerting yourself, all that. No, that's unhealthy. But like, putting an effort towards something, I think that's important. And that's what I'm learning. It's like, okay, I really haven't been using my skills. I don't even know what I can say my talents are, other than connecting with people, and making people feel comfortable. And yeah, I'm intelligent, but like at work, do I love my role? Do I love what I'm doing? Not necessarily. So, but does it pay my bills? Yes. and I'm grateful for what it can offer me, such as like my work-life balance and stuff. So yeah, so I'm at a point where I'm like, all right, I'm aware enough to know that I'm wanting someone because I might be bored. Obviously, yes, I want connection too, but I need to like figure out my life first, because I don't want to manifest another relationship. This is what I told my friend earlier. I gave that guy a whole chapter of my book when all he deserved was probably a page, maybe even just a few paragraphs. And I did that because I was bored with my life, but, you know, I used someone as a distraction. And, you know, I give him more credit than that. Obviously, the relationship taught me a lot, and I know I needed to go through that. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I turned 30 this year. I'm looking for that life partner as my next, relationship. I don't want to just date for no reason. So until that time comes and when I'm ready for that relationship, I need to make sure that I'm, happy and I'm okay on my own. And I think that's why, I'll give myself grace that this is my first time living on my own again. It can be lonely. I'm readjusting and transitioning from being with someone constantly, like every freaking day, to now being on my own again, by myself again. So yeah, so this is going to be a place for me to, talk about things that I've learned, things that I think are important. Of course, spiritual topics. I'm still a very spiritual person. I will say that I've turned away more from new age stuff. That'll be another huge topic. I have always believed in God. I've talked about that in my channel and in my videos, but I really have put more of an emphasis on my relationship with God, with my belief in Jesus Christ, and really building that relationship. That's what I'm trying to do. I still, obviously, like spiritual topics, manifestation, a law of attraction, all of that, like that's still very much present in my life. But candles and using things like that, I have stopped. I haven't used a candle actually since earlier this year. I want to say like maybe January. I think that was my last one. Just because things got tough, and I know that God and Jesus in my life have made themselves very known, very like present, and especially during my hard times, like I prayed, I cried. That's actually, I'll talk about that in one of my videos, like just this very profound moment that was like the reason that I broke up with my ex. So what gave me courage and made me have that realization of like, okay, this is real. What I'm feeling is real. I'm not crazy. I need to get out of this relationship. That was because of God and Jesus Christ. And I'll talk about what that profound moment is in another video. But yeah, so I'm really, I give all my glory and credit to God. And, I made that pact of, if I'm moving forward and gonna get through this, like I need to grow that relationship, and I need to solely depend on Him. Them, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. So yeah, it's been quite the year, and back to what I was saying. So I will still talk about my spirituality, the things that I've gone through, and how, just what I think can help people, like if I was talking to my friends, because I've been through a lot and I know that it's healing to talk about what I've gone through. And also I hope, obviously I hope that other people can take what I'm saying and use that in their own life if it offers them any sort of assistance. So yeah, that's my first video back. Thank you so much if you watched this. I appreciate, I'm surprised that I even still had subscribers. So like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if any of what I've just said sounds interesting to you. Thanks.